Happy Friday, everybody. Christian Hannah Horror here, and we have made it to an incredible number of a series when you stop and think about it. We're talking about Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, here's the thing. This is going to kind of be a love letter, and some people are going to hate this. Some people are going to love this. And some people, they'll just be indifferent about it. I absolutely adore Jason Takes Manhattan. It is my absolute favorite Friday the 13th. Some people will think I'm nuts for that. Some people will understand why I like it, and some people will just say, it is what it is. You know, the thing about Part 8 I really like is just the refreshed setting. Here's the deal. Let's get all this out the way. Rob Hedden had an ambitious idea for this movie, or he had an ambitious script. I think Mancuso Jr. came up with the idea with New York. Even though Rob was like, can we take him out of Crystal Lake? But I digress. He had a very ambitious script with some great stuff. It came down to this. Rob Hedden wanted to make the best film he could. He didn't have the money for it. They were just very cheap at these films. They were just very cheap. They did not want to spend the money to shoot more New York. We all know that. A lot of it takes place in Vancouver and on a ship. With that being said, a few things I really like about this movie. Number one, the look of Jason. I loved that swamp man look with that fresh golden hockey mask. I really like that. Obviously, with Part 7, we saw that the hockey mask was no more. It wasn't worth a damn. It was destroyed in Part 7. So we find this kid playing a prank on his girlfriend, and Jason gets this mask from him, comes right on the boat from being electrocuted. The only thing I would say is that they could have maybe done it a little bit clever for Jason to resurrect. Or you know what I honestly would have done? I would have not even had the lightning, because it's been done already, or the electrical shocks. What I would have done was I would have somehow gotten that anchor to pull that power line across and rip off all that wood that was on top of Jason, and once he was free, you might have saw his hand move or something like he's alive, and then he comes back. Because the only thing was the lightning was already done. Not that it bothers me. I think it was still filmed pretty well, but I would have done without the lightning. I would have just had that dock, some of the wood be ripped off from the power line going across it, and then Jason was free. He wasn't under a tomb, so to speak, anymore. That was my idea, and I think that would have worked a little bit better. But then again, I'm not a filmmaker, so what do I know? Just the 80-isms of this movie, it was so 80s. They had a great soundtrack. We had Fred Malin come in, did a song called Darkest Side of the Night, which I love that song till this day. I love this song. I listen to it. It's on my phone, for God's sakes. I actually have it on a playlist. So I love the song. I listen to it all the time. It's a good jam. It's a good rock song. Character-wise, we've got a lot of good characters. We've got characters that we don't like a lot. We got characters that we really liked a lot. I like the Rennie character. I liked the boyfriend. I think his name was Sean. And then the old teacher was very dislikable. Just a very bitter man. Despite the fact that a lot of this movie took place on the ship, I still enjoyed the scenes with the ship. I really did. I enjoyed Jason hitting the girl with the shards of glass. I enjoyed the sauna kill. At the end of the day, I wish people would stop and say, hey, Rob Hedden did a great job with all the limitations that was put on him. And I just love this film. I do love when they get to New York, and just the small, subtle things. As you could see as the picture on here, when Jason sees the big sign with his face on it. Funny little things like that. And of course, the head getting knocked off in the trash can has to be the best kill of the movie, and my personal favorite kill of all time that Jason Voorhees has done. Just very, very awesome. Very 80s to it. I like the way Jason died when he was reverted back to the boy. It was metaphoric. I understood it. If you're a fan of the series, it kind of makes sense. But it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. Kind of like everything else in the Friday the 13th series. But this is a good film. I know I'm not going to say it's the best made one. That's not what I'm saying at all. I want people to understand what I mean when I say my favorite and what I think is the best. I think the best one made is probably part 4, or even 6 maybe. I have different day. You ask me any day, the answer could change. It's between, honestly, to me, it's between part 4 and 6. I think are the best made one. But this is my favorite, and I love this movie. I love it for what it is and what it isn't. You know, it's Friday the 13th Part 8. You know, and it's not trying to be anything else except Friday the 13th Part 8. So, if you guys usually skip this one over when you're watching a marathon or something, I urge you to go back and say, hey, let me just enjoy this for what it is. Don't worry about the title. He does get to Manhattan. He doesn't necessarily take Manhattan, but he damn sure gets there, you know. But this is a really one of my favorite movies, and it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But it's definitely my favorite, you know, Friday the 13th of all time. But, you know, we're going to move it right along. We still have movies to go, as crazy as it sounds. There's a lot of movies in the Friday the 13th franchise. We'll talk about some behind-the-scenes stuff when we get to Jason Goes to Hell. We'll talk about what happened with Paramount, you know. But until then, I'd love to know what you guys think about Jason Takes Manhattan. Like I said, it's my favorite. I love this movie. So I've been enjoying doing these series, guys. We're going to keep it rolling. But for now, this is Christian Hannah Horror signing off.